Hello and welcome to part 13 of the series on how to create a Twitch UI with ReactJS. In this part we are going to try to finish the video slideshow which we see right here. As you can see right here we have one video, we have two buttons, but the buttons don't even work and the video is only one and we actually want to display 5 at the same time. So let's get started right away. To start off we actually want to add some functions to our buttons which we see on the left and the right. So we open up our icon button right here. And we actually want to pass in a new property because right now when we click on the icon button nothing happens, but we want to execute a function when we click on it. So we are also going to open up our content section right here, and as you can see right here we create the icons, and what we actually want to do is we want to create an onClick function in which we get the click event and then we pass the click event to a function which we create right now, the function previous for the previous video and a function next for the next video. So this will be next, this will be previous and this will be next. But as you can see it is not recognizing the onClick value. The reason is because we didn't implement it right here. So we add an onClick which is a function. onClick is also, by the way, nullable, so we don't have to pass it in. And next up we want to give the onClick as a parameter in the constructor right here, or the function right here. So now that we have that, we actually want to assign an onClick right here. So when we click on this button we want something to happen. What do we want to do? We want to create a new function, execute onClick, which gets an event which is of type react.mouseEvent. And right here we want to execute that function, so we just say E and then we say execute onClick with E. So let's see how this looks like. When we click on the icon button, we execute the function inside the icon button, which is this one, and then we pass in the event, which is this event, and then we do nothing. So what do we want to do instead of nothing? We want to check if the onClick function which we get from the properties is not null, which we do by saying this, and if it is not null then we want to execute it like so. So this is actually one line, and what this says is if onClick does exist, so if it is not null, then we do this. So if we save this up we will see that right here we still have two red squiggly lines, and that is because we actually only want to pass in the function. So right here we pass in the previous function, and right here we want to pass in the next function. And as you can see I misspelled this one, and right here we get an event which is a react.mouseEvent. So let's try to log this, see if we get this value from our child. And we also want to log that we are right here, and we actually want to do the same for the next. So right here we want to see if we are clicking on the next button. So let's open up our console right here, and we click on previous, we get the previous message and we get the mouse event, and for the next we get the next message, which is really good. Only we don't actually need the mouse event, so we're just going to strip it away from here, and we actually want to do something else. But for now this is good, since we now can use the previous and the next buttons. What we first want to do is we want to apply, or we want to add multiple videos into our slideshow. So the way that we are going to do this is not the usual way. We are not going to use the video component, and we are actually going to create a video components from HTML from scratch. And the reason why we do this is because we are going to manipulate the DOM in a very specific way, and React doesn't actually work that nicely. I have tried it out and I couldn't get it to work. Maybe you can, but for now we are just going to use the normal HTML elements. So right here we are going to say we want to create a function, and the function is get video element, or actually better, create video element, and this function creates a new element. So const element equals document dot create element. And what do we want to create? Let's see, the video is a div. So right here we want to say this, we want to create a div like so. So next up we want to actually populate our video. So right here we have a video in our div, another div, the images. Let's just copy this over so we can just look at it and we can easily create our new video element like so and save this up. So the first element that we create will be the video element, document.create element and then video like so. The next element will be another div, which is the side menu, document.create element div. Then we have an image, so image element. Then we get a span, which is the username. And I'm just going to copy over this and we replace this with a span because we get two more spans. And those spans are the category element. And then we have the watchers element like so. Then we get a div of class or the div of tags. So this will be the watchers element, this will be the tags element, document.create element, and then we get a div. And then to finish it off, we have another span, which will be the description, like so. So next, we are going to add our children to the tags. So we want to create an array of element, which is empty. So tags children. I'm just going to keep it at this, and we then are going to loop through every video that we have, and we are going to add that video to the text children. So the first thing we are going to do is actually going to give the video as a parameter right here. So what we want to do is we want to import the video model. So right here we say import video model from models and then video like so. And let's see how we export it right here. We have our models, video, it's just an interface of video, so we say video as video model because otherwise it will conflict with this one. And then we just say that we expect a parameter of video, which is of video model like so. And now we can use the video element. So right here we say video dot text dot for each. We want to create a new, or we want to push a new element in our text children. So we say text children dot push document dot create element. Which element do we want to create? We want to create a button element. And for the button element, we are going in our button.tsx. We see that it is of type button, so we just create a button right here. What we actually want to do is we want to create a temporary element, like so. And now we can still modify the element before we push it into our array. And that is actually what we want, because we want to say button element dot class name. And then we want to give it a class of button tertiary button, like so. And we also want to set its HTML. Inner HTML equals, and then we want to give it a class name, and or the class name, we want to give it some text, and the text will be equal to T, like so. And I think that's everything for our button. Yes. And then we push it into our children, which is good. And then we have our description right here, which is also good. So let's see. What are we going to do next? Next, we actually want to return the element, like so. So now this function returns a new HTML element. Let's see. We want to use this instead of our actual video. So let's just remove this and replace it with this function. And let's see what happens next. We get a failed to compile because we got 0 arguments. Okay, that's okay, because we just need to pass in the video. Let's see, it is videos index, so. And if we save this, so the reason we get this error is because we cannot render an HTML element directly. We actually need to render a React element. But since we actually want to render an HTML element, we've got to do this some other way. So we are just going to remove this, and we are going to give a ref to our slideshow. Let's see, we are going to create a new variable right here, which will be slideshow ref, which is use ref null. And right here we want to say that it is the slideshow ref, like so. And then when we first create our component, I'm just going to remove the index right here. We say use effect, like so. So this renders, this is actually the component did mount or component was created. So this is only renders once when the component created. It's only once because the array we pass in is empty. If we were to pass in some state or some variable, it would execute this function each time this when the state or variable gets updated. But since we don't pass in anything, it will only render once or execute once. So inside of here, we are going to create our code or write our code, and we want to create an element, which is this. We want to use the 0 index. And then what we want to do is we want to check if the slideshow ref is not null, if slideshow ref.current, and if it is not null, we want to say slideshow ref.current, and then we could actually access its attributes, and we can only do this if we give this an HTML_div element class. So, and then we can, as you can see, access all its attributes. So then we want to access the append child function, like so, and we want to append this element to the slideshow ref. Let's save this up and see what happens. So we refresh the page. Let's see if the element is actually right there. So the reason we don't see anything is because the element which we are trying to append is an empty div. So it actually did append it right here, but we just didn't put in anything. So let's populate our element right here. So let's see, before we return it, we want to add the video. So we say element.append child video element. So let's see how this looks. Now, as you can see, there is a video being rendered inside of there. Next, we want to apply the same for every other element. Side menu element. I'm just going to put the other ones in there as well. So I've added every element. Let's save it up and see what happens. If we refresh the page, we will see that we have every element appearing, and well, everything is just empty. So what can we do about it? For the video, we want to give it a source. So let's say video.source equals, then we want to use the video.video, like so. Let's see if it is actually rendering the video. Yeah, good. So now you can see that the source is set, but the video is way too big, so we also have to apply a class name to it. So we say video element.className equals video, like so. And now it's still way too big, and that is because the class name of the video, which we have right here, is not being executed because the video element is actually not being loaded. So to fix this, we can actually, let's see, import the video styling in our content right here, which is not something we would usually do, but I think in this case it is a nice solution. So we want to say import button, no, not the button, video.css, like so. Let's save it up and see, we have our class video and it says display flags. So let's see why it is not applying the other styles. So I see what is going wrong, and it is because we apply the class name to the video element, and we should actually apply it to the element, like so. So if we save this up, we see that our video class is being applied right here. So this one is done. Next, we want to actually give the video back its controls. So we say video element dot controls equals true, and if we save this up, we'll see that the controls are back. So this one is done as well. Then we want to give the side menu a class name. So let's see, right here we say side menu element dot class name equals side menu. Save this up, and we see a nice little side menu appearing. It is coming back one by one, but it just takes a little bit of time. Then we apply the profile picture class name to here. So we say image element dot class name equals profile picture. So then we remove this line, and we are going to go on with the username and the category. So username dot class name equals this. Category element dot class name equals category, I think. Yes. Then we have the watchers. Watchers element dot class name equals watchers. like so. And then we have the tags, and that will be a class name of tags. The tags element dot class name equals tags. So, and if we save this up and look at our video, we see that everything now has a description, or a class name, I mean. And speaking about the description, we actually forgot to add it, or well, I forgot to add it. We just say element.append child description element, and let's see, does the description have a class name? Yes, it does. So we say description element.class name equals description. So now that everything has the correct class name, we actually want to populate it with the let's see, the profile picture, for example, needs to have this. So let's start by starting the profile picture. We actually already done the side menu, and I'm just going to put an enter after each element, so we see a little bit more clear what is happening, like so. So the source will be the video.image. So here we have our profile picture. We say source equals video.image. Let's see if it works. It works, but it's way too big. Let's see, did we miss a class? Class name equals profile.picture. We did apply the class correct. So I know what happens. The thing is, we didn't insert the elements into the side menu. We actually should. So let's see. We have our side menu, and we actually want to put everything inside of the side menu. If we look at the video, all those items are inside the side menu. So we say side menu element dot append child, and then we want to append the image element, and then we want to do the same for the rest of the elements, I think. Yes, up until the description, like so. And then we just can replace this with side menu element. We already added this one, and after we've added everything to the side menu, let's see, we want to add the side menu to the element. Well, it already is added to the element, so this should work. Let's save it up. Yes, and now the side menu is rendering correctly. Nice. So next up we have the username, and we actually want to set it to video.username. So username element dot inner HTML equals video.username. The username is appearing. Okay, so it's coming back piece by piece, little by little. Inner HTML equals video.category. Watchers element, inner HTML video.watchers, or viewers, how did we call it? Let's see. We didn't add it to the video, so we just hard coded with 58 viewers, like so. Nice. Then next we have the tags, and for the tags we actually want to render buttons. And as you can see, the buttons are not being rendered at the moment. So we have the content, video, slideshow, video. Right here we have the tags, but the tags are empty. So right here we create a button element and we push it into the tags children. And I see that we don't add the text children to the element. Okay, so we can actually remove this one, and we can just say tag element append child button element. Let's see how this works out. Okay, so this already fixed it. And the last thing we need to do is we need to do the description. So for the description, we can just easily say description element.inner HTML equals, and then we want to say video.description. So, okay, now we have recreated the whole element, but just with HTML and JavaScript from scratch. And what we can do right now, as you can already see, we can just add it to the body by saying slideshow.ref.current.append child. I'm just going to close this function because it is a lot of lines. So now that we have done this, let's look at the result. And the thing we are noticing is that the video is being appended at the end. And that is actually not even a big problem, but it would be nicer if it could be in between those icon buttons. So to fix that, we can actually append it after the first icon button. And the way to do this is we can access the children of the slideshow ref. And then we just select the first child. So, and then we can just say that we want to insert the element as an adjacent element, and the element that we want to insert is this one. And then it wants a position, and for the position we say after begin. Let's see what it looks like. Right now the video is above. Let's see what happens. It is inside of the icon button, so that's not what we want. So let's see, we have after begin. Let's try before begin. Right now the video element is before the icon button. Let's try after. What did we have? Before end, or actually after end. Like so. And I think the video should now be in the correct position. Yeah, okay, nice. So now we have created one video. We actually want to create 5 of them. So we are just going to create first element, which is element left 2. And I want to create element left 1, center and right 2. So the way this is going to work is we have the left 2 element, which is actually this one. We have the left 1 element, which is this one. We have the center element, which is in the center right here. We have the right 1 element, which is this one, and the right 2, which is on the right. So that's why I named it like this. And we actually want to display different videos to them, like so. And then we want to apply or add first this element. Then we want to add in the second element, because this one will push this one to the right, if I'm correct. Then we want to push in the center element, then the left 1, and then the left 2. So let's save this up and see what happens. So let's go into the root and look at the content, and right here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. Nice. But we actually want to give each element a different class name. So this video will be named, or will have a class name added, of left 2. And we're actually going to say video left 2. This one will be video left 1. This one will be the center. Here we have right 1. And here we have right 2. And let's see if we get the correct classes on there. So right here we have the video. Okay, so my fault. I've added them all to the first element, which is not what we want. Let's correct this to right 1 and right 2. Save it up. And as you can see, we have left 2, left 1, center, right 2, right 1, and right 2. And right now we have all the videos with the correct classes, and the only thing left is to actually style those classes. When we click on this button, remove a video from the left, append a new video to the right. And when we click on this button, remove a video on the right and append a new video on the left. So we have come a long way. We have actually created an HTML element from scratch. We can now insert it into the document, even though this is not the React way, but with React this won't actually work, this video carousel. If you can get it to work, please let me know, because I'm really curious. I've tried it, but I couldn't get it to work. So that's why we are doing it this way. So next time we are going to make the slideshow work, and we are going to add videos to the slideshow. So stay tuned, because it's going to be amazing. I want to thank you for watching. Leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!